Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the AI Learning Lab. I'm just going to get a news story. Code. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-bam. Ba-da-ba-ba-bam. Exciting news coming. There's big things happening. Welcome, everybody. We'll let people get in here. It's the AI Learning Lab. My name's Kyle Shannon. Let me pop up my little... I generally start out with this. Looks like Ron's here. Is that you, Ron? Maybe. I think so. What was I going to say? Oh, the websites. Everyone get in here. He's on. Yeah. Share it far and wide, people. Share it far and wide. We just have a handful of people in here now. We gotta get this in here. Hey, Yela, what's happening? Victor, Troy, good evening, Mr. Decker. What's shaking? Oh, Silver Fox shared the live. If you haven't shared the live, you're losing ground. It's very sad if you haven't shared it yet. Many people are sharing this live. All right. Welcome. It is, what day is today? Thursday night. It's a hot Thursday night. It's actually kind of cool here in Denver. There's a chance of tennis ball-sized hail or nothing. It's like 30% that it's going to be catastrophic. And then, 70% that it's going to be just fine. Everything's going to be just fine. So, I don't know. When was it last time? 2 nights ago, I was on live. I guess it was July 4th. And, the garbage cans washed into the intersection. It was pretty nasty. Welcome, everybody. Silhouettes, hope you're having a great day, too. Appreciate it. Welcome. My name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. Let me explain what all these URLs are on screen for. I'm not associated with any of them. They're really just there more as a public service announcement. The channel's about talking about AI, sort of going on this grand adventure together of whatever the fuck this generative AI thing's going to be. I'm an entrepreneur of many years. I've started 12 or 15 companies in my day. Some of them got really big. Some of them were just abject failures that shouldn't have been started in the first place. My current company, Storyvine's 11 years old and profitable, and we do a lot of good work in the healthcare and pharma space, so that's kind of fun. And the past year, I have been obsessed with this AI stuff, and when ChatGPT came out, I had an epiphany about it that was not dissimilar to an epiphany I had about the World Wide Web back in 1994, where I thought, holy shit, the world just changed and no one knows it yet. And that's what I'm feeling about this stuff. So, what are these URLs here? If you haven't played with ChatGPT, what I will do most of the night is just tell you to go do that. So chat.openai.com, that's the official ChatGPT website. If you haven't played with it, go there. Bing.com is also ChatGPT. If you click on their chat button, that's Microsoft's version of it, and it's GPT-4, and it's free. And you can generate images there, and it's connected to the internet, so it's fairly sophisticated. Not as good, in my opinion, as the GPT-4 up there, but whatever, it's free. And then Poe.com's got a whole bunch of different things you can play with. So go play with those. Prompts.chat is a little document that'll explain to you what prompting is and how to do it, how to talk to these things. And then it'll give you a giant long list of personas where you can tell ChatGPT to act like different personas, like act like an accountant or a master scribe or a nutritionist or whatever, and it gets better and better as you give it more context. And then Futurepedia.io is just a big long list of AI tools. And Kyle for president. Oh, God, that would be a fucking disaster. See, my problem would be I'd tell the truth, and then things would be very bad. Oh, yeah, they took me in the back room. Here's what's going on with UFOs. All right. Anyway, if you have questions about AI, pop them down below. The other thing I thought might be interesting is if you've got a problem that you're trying to solve and you're trying to figure out how do I do that with AI, just pop that down below as well. See what I can do to answer any of that stuff. So welcome. Oh shit, wrong shirt. I'm gonna need to go change my shirt. You can't see a thing here. Hope you're having a great day. All right. All right. Looks like you haven't popped any questions down there. So feel free to pop questions in. I'm going to go change my shirt so we can read the text. Jimmy. All right. Got a little Basquiat, Cassius Clay. Nice. All right. Shirt changing commences. Oh, yeah, I should have put on some music. Am I doing an AI demo this evening? Yes, what would you like to see? Greetings, Earthlings. Hello, Kevin. It's loud. I like it. Yeah, it was loud, but it was not. You couldn't read the text. I couldn't read the text. It was making my head hurt. And we don't want Daddy's head hurting. That would be bad. What? The hair is starting to misbehave again. I got a haircut. It was good for like 3 days, 4 days. Now it's starting to head south again. It's like a toupee tussle. How about teaching us something about prompts? Okay, I can do that. I'll tell you what might be good. Fup duck. I get it. You switch those letters around, and if I wasn't careful, I'd say a bad word. Very clever of you, fup duck. Huh? I'm too smart for you. Like a steel trap. So, are you doing an AI demo and teach us something about prompting? So what you should do, fup duck, is pop down below what's something that you're trying to solve. So rather than me just randomly putting shit in there, because I tend to go to the same stuff just because I'm thinking fast on the fly. So I go to the same shit over and over again. So put something down there, and then we'll see if we can. I'll see if I can come up with a creative way to play with it. Oh, there's some news. So if you pay for OpenAI's API, everybody has access to GPT-4 now. I didn't have access to GPT-4 on the API side. I do now. Everybody has it. And the other thing that you've been hearing me whine about for, 3 weeks now, 4 weeks, is that I don't have access to Code Interpreter for ChatGPT. Apparently, everyone who is a paid ChatGPT member is getting access to Code Interpreter. In fact, why don't we go check it now? Maybe they gave it to me tonight. But everyone is supposed to get access to it within the week. Beta features, it's not there yet. But apparently within a week, we all got access to Code Interpreter. Ethan Mollick, who I'm a big fan of, said, what did he say in his tweet? Hang on. Let me see. Code Interpreter. Here we go. Mullock. What did he say? He said, where's this post? Everyone who subscribes, let me flip this around. So Ethan Mullock, Wharton professor, brilliant dude, definitely worth following. Everyone who subscribes to ChatGPT Plus is apparently going to get Code Interpreter in the next week. It is the mode of AI that I find the most promising, interesting, and unnerving. Yee! It's coming! And if you don't know what Code Interpreter is, you upload files to it, and it reads them and understands them, and then it can do shit for you. So, like, you can upload a big pile of data, and then say to it, what's interesting about this data? And it will write you a whole report and generate graphs and charts. It'll write the Python to generate... It's insane. It'll turn GIFs into MP4s. It'll pull the colors out of a GIF and create a color palette. I don't know what it does because I don't have it yet. But when I have it, I'll play with it. All right, let's see. Zzz. Who's falling asleep, fuck duck? How about teaching us something about prompts? And then you're snoring on me? Now I'm not going to teach you something about prompts. That's just rude. Kyle, have you checked out Threads? Got AI Learning Lab set up over there? I set it up with my Kyle Shannon account, but no. I mean, I played with it. I did one post. Let me see. Do they have a web app like the Twitter? Threads, Meta. Guess not. But if you go look up at Kyle Shannon on Threads, my first post was a Midjourney image that I created today. That was really cool. You want to see it? You want to see a cool image? Fup Duck's like, when are you going to teach me about prompting, man? That's just how he talks, too. This is a little dark, but that's the image that I created. Isn't that cool? Paper cut shapes and stuff like that. That was my first post to Threads. I figured I'd do a pretty image. Put a pretty image up there. Greetings. I agree about the prompts. Wait, given all that's going on in the world... Wait, Earthlings is appropriate. Wait, given all that is going on in the world, Earthlings is appropriate. Oh, someone said haircut looks rocking. That is, well, it does. I guess it does. It looks like bad. What is that? Late 80s, early 90s rocking. It's like I don't know. Wham with a receding hairline. Thank you very much for that, Rose. That's for the receding hairline. Yeah, she's selling hair growth product, right? She knows what's going down up here. $20 a month for Poe. Yes, is Poe legitimate? I would just cancel my OpenAI subscription. Okay, so here's the deal. Well, the middle one's free, so you can't pay for that. I pay for OpenAI and I pay for Poe. I will cancel Poe as soon as OpenAI expands their context window. Here's why I think they're both worth paying for. And the announcement about Code Interpreter being launched within a week makes me tip heavily toward ChatGPT. So the top one. So the top one, if you pay for ChatGPT Plus, you get GPT-4. You also get plugins. When they resurrect Browse with Bing, the GPT-4 connected to the internet, they just killed it 3 days ago because it was stealing content behind paywalls. I think I understand what happened there, but they got to fix some shit. So that'll be back. So you'll have the default mode, which is GPT-4. You'll have it connected to the internet. You'll have plugins, which are interesting but flawed right now. And then you're going to have this new thing called Code Interpreter. So paying for ChatGPT Plus gives you all of those. There's other shit coming, and you'll get access to it first. But Code Interpreter seems like it's a game changer. It just seems like a game changer. Like I haven't been excited about something in a while. About like I want the new thing to come. That's what I'm excited about. Okay, so that's that. Now let's go to Poe. Poe. And here's why I think Poe is potentially worth paying for, but you know what you're trying to accomplish better than I do. Come on, focus. All right. No, it's not going to focus. Okay, so when you come to Poe, you've got these 6 models here: Sage, GPT-4, Claude Plus, Claude Instant 100K, Claude Instant, and ChatGPT. The 2, 3, and 4, GPT-4, Claude Plus, and Claude Instant 100K, you have to be a subscriber for. Claude Instant 100K, what that means is it's 100,000 token chat model. So translated into like, if real people were to say that, Kyle, what would they say? You can put 75,000 words into your prompt. So that's like a novel. You can, if you've got the Great American Novel written and you want to summarize it, or you want to reorder the chapters, or you want to make it written in the, I don't know, the tone of some favorite author of yours, you can just paste it in there and start interacting with it. 75,000 word context window. So that's a big deal. Poe, I like the it's worth using for the free version just because of the bots, because I think the little bot ecosystem is pretty cool. I think the bots are actually probably more useful than plugins are right now. But that's the difference between them. Recommendation? I don't know. I would lean toward, if you could only afford one, I would go toward OpenAI, because I think Code Interpreter is gonna change the game. Gonna change the game. What is the game? What game are we playing, Kyle? Why is your hair so funny? Nice Code Interpreter. I know. Where do you get the news on OpenAI? On the Twitter, and maybe now on the Threads. Did you see that tweet that fucking Zuckerberg sent to Elon Musk? Elon Musk sent him a tweet going, "Hey, it looks like you stole my, intellectual property for Twitter." He said something about Zuckerberg cheating, and then and then Zuckerberg goes, "Well, what about you cheating with Sergey Brin's wife?" It's like, ooh. As Muscle says, the girls are fighting. Oh my God! I think all of this. Here's a theory for you. Maybe Zuck released Threads just to hype up the cage match that they're gonna go do. Can Midjourney do tasteful modern art, more minimalist? Yeah, can absolutely do that. Let's go do one. Oh, you know what we'll do? We'll go to Poe. So here we are in Poe, and I'm gonna click the Midjourney bot. And then I'm going to say painting, painting of colorful abstract shapes, modern, minimalist. We'll do 50s. And then let's just do that. I'm going to let this thing rewrite it. So what it rewrote was color painting of colorful abstract shapes in a modern minimalist style from the 1950s. Bold and vibrant colors, geometric and symmetrical composition, clean lines, sharp edges, textured surface, acrylic on canvas, Jackson Pollock, Mark Rothko, Piet Mondrian. Well, okay, that's just fucking random. You can't have Pollock and Mondrian in the same prompt. So we'll unfuck that up. That's, one of the cool things about playing with these tools is like with Midjourney and understanding what it can do and what it can understand is like you do get a bit of an art history lesson. That was me trying to do. Oh, what's up with this focus? There we go. This was me trying to do Sling Blade. It didn't quite get it. It's in the neighborhood, but it wasn't quite right. All right. Image. All right, so we're going to do that. We're going to pull out Jackson Pollock, because that's not minimalist at all. That is maximalist. So we'll see what this does. Oh, and it gave me a 2:3 aspect ratio, which I don't like. But we'll play with it. We'll play with a couple of cool things here. There's a new thing called zoom out, which if you haven't played with it is their word for out painting, which zoom out's much more clear. And then there's also panning. You can now pan. So if you've got an image here and you want to like extend just one side of it, you can pan it in that direction, and it actually makes the image bigger. All right, so that's going off and doing its thing. Looks like Midjourney's being slow, so we'll come back to that. Let's see. Awesome. Where's the picture? It's coming. Where's the picture? It's just the most remarkable piece of technology in the history of humanity. Why isn't it done yet? My microwave's faster than this with a hot dog. Here they come. Here they come. They're coming. Is it done? Looks like it's done. Da-da-da-da. I don't like this. Let's see. Let's take Mondrian out of that. Let's do another one. / imagine. Pop that in. Get rid of Jackson Pollock. Let's just do Mark Rothko. Get rid of Mondrian. And then instead of bold and vibrant colors, let's do bold, dramatic colors. Symmetrical composition, clean line, sharp edges, textured surface, acrylic on canvas. And let's do 16 by 9. All right, so we'll go do that, and then I'll come back and I'll show you some of the other stuff. I just don't like those color palettes. They just look, I don't know. What is this? What are we, Easter? What is this, Easter? Eastern modern art? No. We want some devil worship modern art shit. Some drama. We want drama. All right, I lost my place in a little comments here. Okay, here we are. Modern tasteful art. I don't know what code interpreter means, really. Okay, I'll come back to code interpreter. I'll go show some things. But the basic deal with it is, in your little chat box in ChatGPT, it gives you an upload button, and then you can upload, like, say, so you're in fundraising, you could upload, all of the foundations or nonprofits' performance for the year. Let's say you got a big spreadsheet with all the performance data of all your nonprofits, and you could say, tell me what's interesting about this data, tell me the trends, tell me what's going on here, and it will just read all of the data, and it'll write you charts, it'll analyze the data, you can tell it to visualize stuff, it'll write code for you. It's crazy. I'll go find a post on Twitter. These are actually pretty good. They're not quite the color palette I would go for, but they're this prompt, right? Colorful painting, abstract with Mark Rothko, and then there's 4 different images here with these abstracts. It's hard to tell. There's 4 different ones. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you've got upscale 1 through 4, variations 1 through 4, and you could just re-roll it. Basically, just say, I don't like any of them. Give me a bunch of new ones. But let's see. I think 1 and 3 are interesting to me. So let's do variations of 1 and variations of 3. And so now that's going to have Mid-Journey go do things that will look very, very similar, but they'll have slight variations. And then we can blow one of those up, and then we could, let's say we wanted this thing to be square instead of landscape, we could do that as well. What the hell's going on here? Oh, there we go. That's looking interesting. I like this one with the big dark circle. They're not quite there yet. This one's done. Wait. Oh, no. They're still coming. 93%. So you kind of watch these things. If you haven't watched these things work, what they actually start with is like a fully noised image, and then over a series of 30 or 50 or 70 steps, it'll denoise it. So I like 3, and I think 2 is pretty interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit upscale 2 and upscale 3, and so now it's going to give me big versions of those. Here. You wasted, 40 pages of paper by printing some website, and it printed.
Oh, no. Are you kidding?
No.
Holy shit, that was 2 recipes.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. All right.
Oh, no.
So there's one of them. That's actually pretty beautiful.
She said yes.
And then, oh, that's great. And then there's another one. All right. So that's, I was going to show you the zoom thing. So let's say we like this this dark circle here. I like this dark circle here. And let's say I want that more in the middle of the composition. So I can now say pan down. So if I hit this down arrow, what it's going to do is it's actually going to add to the bottom of the painting. So it's going to give us a whole new chunk of painting. So that's something that just came out in Midjourney like yesterday, I think, or the day before. So that's pretty cool. So we'll wait for that to do that. People are going to flip when they get Code Interpreter. I've had it for a while now. Oh, the silver. Tell me more. Tell me more. Talk about what it is. Yeah, I just, like everything I've seen. In fact, let me go to the old Twitter. Let's see. So here's the thing Ethan Mollick did. He asked Code Interpreter to give him like different kinds of, how did he describe it? Hang on. He goes, I had no idea ChatGPT with Code Interpreter could do flowcharts until it did. So I asked it what other exotic Python visualizations it could do and to make samples. Interactive maps, pairwise plots, word clouds, hierarchies, machine learning diagrams, Andrews curves. So like it can just do this shit. Like you upload data to this thing and then you say like visualize this data on a map. Give me, a set of scatter plots. Give me whatever the fuck these things are. Give me a word cloud. And it writes the Python code and maps the data into it and provides you the graphic. I mean, good flippin' Lord. Really? That's coming this week. Can you explain the math of how neural networks calculate gradient descent? I cannot. I can tell you how large language models do what they do, and I can tell you how things like Midjourney do what they do, but what you're asking for is a level more machine learning engineer than I am, unfortunately. So here's the extended image. I'll just upscale one of these. Let's grab, I think this bottom one, is better. So we'll do upscale 3. So I don't understand the math of that. Just a little bit about context about who I am. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm an innovator with technology once it sort of hits the masses, right? So when the internet was just the internet and you had to do command line shit, I used it, but I didn't use it a lot. When the World Wide Web came out, I was like, holy shit, I started one of the first online magazines. I started one of the first online agencies. And same thing with ChatGPT. When this thing came out, I'm like, holy shit, everything's different. So I understand some of the math behind this stuff and how these things work, but think, from ChatGPT forward, essentially. So anyway, so there's that thing that, this painting ended down here before, and now it just added all that stuff at the bottom. I mean, pert remarkable, if you ask me. Just your everyday little making art out of nothing. I haven't messed with the others yet, but I have spent some time finding the edges of GPT's capabilities. That's cool. Keep digging on it. Push it harder. Someone asked me about prompting before. I'll do something here. As soon as I get a little inspiration about what to prompt, I will do it. Retrobug. The context window is my biggest challenge. So if the context window is your biggest challenge, it's probably worth paying for Poe and going to go play with that 100,000 token window. Or if you don't want to pay for it, there's a open source model called MPT7B that has a 65,000 token window, which is 45,000 words, 40,000 words, something like that, 45 probably. If you're geeky and want to go play with open source, there's that. Or pay the $20 and go play with the Claude 100,000 one. Where did the pick go? Which pick? I made it go away. Code Interpreter gets around the token length issue in some ways. That's interesting. Where's the picture? There's the picture. Now it's gone again. When do you think Bing is coming back to ChatGPT? I have no flippin' idea. I don't know how bad that bug was. So here's what I think okay. So when you go to the New York Times or when you go to whatever site and it shows you the article and then it like pops up the thing that says you got to pay, you flippin' loser. There's kind of two ways to do that paywall. One of them is kind of the cheap way where if you know how to inspect the code of a page, you can actually just sort of sneak, you basically just say, show me the code of this page and you can see the article. So, so those kind of sites that kind of had the cheap version of the paywall, for lack of a better term, I think ChatGPT was just reading the code and, and presenting the paywalled content. I assume the ones that had better versions of that, better versions of the paywall wall, that didn't happen. But it could have been a major player that just said, if you don't fix that, we're gonna make this a big deal. So I mean, listen. Sam Altman and the team at OpenAI, they've got Microsoft as a partner. And even though Microsoft doesn't have a controlling interest, they don't want to piss them off, right? Microsoft has a bunch of advertisers on Bing. They've got massive corporate partners. So it wouldn't surprise me if, someone made a stink and maybe Microsoft has this dealt with on their implementation of ChatGPT or on Bing Chat. And maybe they said to OpenAI, you got to deal with this, or maybe they're just doing it. I don't know, but I don't have a fucking clue. It seems to me that it would be something relatively simple to fix, but if they don't know what the actual problem is, if they don't know all the places where it's sneaking around paywalls and whatever other issues were raised, it might be a while. I mean, the good news is we've got Bing. Good, and it's not as convenient as using GPT-4 connected to the internet there, but that's the deal. It's where we are. Yeah, it's where we are. I don't know why it's like this. I want it to be so much better. All of this has promise, but it seems so, Hard Fork and Last Week in AI are great podcasts. I'm confused by the pricing. Is it charged by tokens or keys? I don't know. Okay. So ChatGPT is flat pricing charged monthly. If you're paying for APIs, the GPT API on the playground, and you're doing things like Zapier and you're hooking into the API, that's charged by the token. So the key just gives you access to make the API calls. And then the API calls are the combination of the prompt that you send in and the answer that it returns. That amount of tokens is what you get charged for each call. I don't think there's a charge per call. I think it's per chunk of tokens, per 1,000 tokens, I think. So like GPT 3.5 Turbo is, I don't even know what it is, 2 cents, and then GPT-4 is 6 cents. Like they've changed, like the GPT 3.5 Turbo 16K is way cheaper, and then GPT-4 was slightly cheaper. So it is confusing though, because if you're paying for ChatGPT, you're essentially paying for an application layer. If you're paying for API access, then you're paying for tokens. You can put text files into Code Interpreter and greatly expand the context in a prompt. Oh, that's a super cool idea. Yeah, because I think isn't it like a maximum of 100 megabyte file? You can put in a 100 megabyte data file. So you could put in a 100 megabyte text file, which that's probably a fairly sizable amount of text, and then have that be the prompt. Holy shit, that's amazing. Because you could do some really sophisticated prompting in that document. Wow, that's wild. Is that 75,000 K of just your words or added together questions and responses? Yes, it's a 100,000 token window, context window. So that's a combination of. So you could put in a 45,000 word novel and get back a 30,000 word response, and then you'd still be under that, and then it would cut you off somewhere in that neighborhood. Hey, I have a serious question. Well, then I'll give you a serious answer. Please ask. All right. Do you think software developers' careers are at risk due to AI? Well, you said due to IA. Definitely not at risk due to IA, but maybe due to AI. I know, I'm a little smarmy. He's a little smart. He's a bit of a smartass, isn't he? Is he trolling me? I don't think you're allowed to do that. Yes.
You fucker.
Yes. That's gone. All right. Do you think? So here's the deal. Software developers' jobs are so. Okay. So there's a guy that I'm a big fan of named Paul Raitzer who started the Marketing AI Institute, and he's got this thing. He says, "AI is not going to take your job, but somebody using AI will." I think that AI literate programmers, AI literate engineers are going to be fine for some time because there's a lot of shit to be built. Now, how engineers and programmers do what they do, I think is going to transform quickly and dramatically. And you know, anyone who's using GitHub with Copilot right now, you know, essentially doing pair programming with GPT tools, knows this already, right? It's just a completely different experience. You're sort of driving the intent of the application, and then GPT sitting there sort of executing, you know, big chunks of code, and then you're sort of figuring out, is that code right? Did it do it in a way that I like, right? All that sort of stuff. So I think that there's going to be plenty of work there, but any developer right now that basically just sticks their head in the sand and just says, "Well, hand coding is the way. I've always done it this way, and I will be coding like this for all of my days," they're going to be in trouble because some little punk's going to come along and be able to 10x the productivity, and I don't care how tight their code is. At some point, they're just going to get priced out of the market, right? They're going to be expected to do more than they can do with manual coding. All right, serious question from Black Swan. I have an idea, I just don't know where to start. Well, feel free to share what you feel free to share, and I'll help. Or I mean, I don't know if I'll help. I will give you feedback on whatever that might be, and tell you where you might start. Yes, they absolutely are. We'll need less developers until new industries expand. Yeah, in the end, I think AI is going to create, you know, massive amounts of new jobs. In the next 2 to 3 years, it's going to be a really painful transition until those new jobs emerge, right? Right now, all of these generative AI tools, all the stuff that's going to fuck up all the jobs is very early, and it's very kind of spit and duct tape. It's really janky software. It's not sophisticated. The autonomous agents that everyone got so excited about, you know, Auto GPT and Baby AGI, all those things are just janky pieces of shit right now. All of it is. As these tools get more and more and more sophisticated, and instead of being disparate features and functions, like we've got Midjourney over here that you have to do in Discord, but we've got ChatGPT over here, but we got this over here, we got that over there. All this stuff's going to start to merge, where the tools that we use are just going to be imbued with AI capabilities, and that's when things will start to normalize a bit. But that's going to take a while. I could listen to you all day. Sorry about that. I wish you were my dad. Careful what you wish for. Yeah, it wears thin. I wear thin. I'm not thin. I wear thin. I'm a lot. Camelot. All right, I get TikTok just lost me in my place of comments again. So here's the thing. For those of you that have been here before, you know this about me. I get a little OCD. Like, I want to answer all the questions. And then as I'm scrolling to answer one question, someone will post another one, and TikTok jumps me to the bottom of the screen, and then I lose everything. And so that makes me cranky. And so then I just sit here scrolling. Old man scrolling on a TikTok. Old man trying to read words. Old man, eyes don't work. Old man. Welcome to Elder Talk, children. Oh, here's Black Swan's serious question. All right, I'm back. Black Swan asks, I want to take every piece of congressional record and feed it to an AI. So good serious question. I should answer it seriously. Well, if we're talking about congressional records. Okay. So there's a couple of things about what you want to do. I think what you want to do will absolutely be done. I don't know what your background is, what access you have to that, if you're just talking about doing public records. I think there are so many applications for that kind of work. I was on a panel about a month and a half ago with a guy, an ex-newspaper guy, that was talking about local journalism and the fact that local journalism is fucked and doesn't exist, and like all these multinational companies are buying up all the local markets, and right, so local journalism is kind of screwed. But what he was talking about was most of what local journalists did was they went and got public records, and they reported on them. Here's what is happening on that corner lot. They're putting up a skyscraper, and if you want to keep the little corner candy store, you better get out there and protest, right? That's what local journalism was. Well, that's all discoverable public data that's electronically discoverable that you could create, GPT article writers with automatically. And so what you're talking about is the same thing. Right now, it's in order to do that, you can't just do it with ChatGPT. You could do your prompt engineering on GPT Playground or on ChatGPT, but ultimately, what you'd need to do with that, there's a framework, a project called LangChain. I think it's short for language chain. And LangChain allows you to essentially point to certain directories full of content and embed them. And so embedding basically means the English, the real human being phrase of embedding is make it GPTable. So you basically take all of the congressional records, you embed them, make them GPTable, and then you store them in what's called a vector database. And that just basically means they're searchable like ChatGPT. So it's absolutely doable. And depending on the access you have, you could probably find, an engineer or two that's got some experience with LangChain and do that. I would go hang out on Reddit, in the LangChain subreddit. And there might even be some other projects or extensions of LangChain, that might make that relatively straightforward. You can do some pretty sophisticated stuff with not a lot of code and not a lot of time. It all boils down to how fast people want to adopt them to scale. How do you display text on Midjourney? You don't right now. The text is just not there yet. They'll get there with it. If you want to do text, you can use Adobe Firefly has you can sort of do prompting inside of a font, so you can make like fuzzy letters, right? The word fuzzy, all the letters are fuzzy, or honeycomb, and they're all honeycombs. So you can do that with an Adobe Firefly. I've seen some papers in the past month that are talking about their methods for how to do text. My guess is that we're going to see coherent text on Stable Diffusion before we see it on Midjourney, just because it's open source and the developer community kind of attacks everything on Stable Diffusion faster than the team at Midjourney can. So everybody, like I feel like Midjourney dealt with the pretzel fingers, and so those are good or getting better now. And they've dealt with some of the mushy faces, and so I would say text is probably up there in priority. Whoever gets text first people are gonna flock to that, whatever that tool is. Do I know if AI is being included for the future of robotics? Yeah, let me see if I can go find this one video. There's a disturbingly fun video from Boston Dynamics, which I want to like them, but their robots are fucking terrifying. Like, why? Like, if you're gonna have a robot company, why would you make your robots look like the ones that are in all the movies that kill us? You know? You know what I'm saying? Am I wrong? Let's see. Boston Dynamics dog chat GPT. dog. There it is.
You know, that's a great question. We use ChatGPT to query information, and the user can ask natural questions.
I was just wondering if I could dictate to it to say something specifically. What is your battery level?
Battery level is currently at 53%.
What is the voice coming from?
It's a Google text-to-speech.
We give the JSON to ChatGPT and explain what the structure is and how to read that JSON. Now ChatGPT can answer questions about that JSON.
All right. So what he said there, if you're not into the geeky stuff, that basically they're turning the ChatGPT into JSON, which the robot can understand, and then so they can send stuff to the robot that the robot understands, and then the robot can respond, and ChatGPT can take that in. So they're doing that there. What one of the things that large language models make possible is putting an incredibly simple layer on top of incredibly complicated systems. So a robot is an incredibly complicated system of sensors and motors and batteries and all that sort of stuff. And so historically, what you would have to do is you would have to code it programmatically, go here, go there, go there. And then in the past 10 years, they've taken these more specialized machine learning models and put them in the robots, and that's how they do their navigation and things like that. That's how Tesla's doing self-driving cars. What the large language models offer the potential of is now we can just talk to them. So rather than having to have an engineer kind of do all that stuff manually, if you get that large language model interface right, you can talk to the robots and tell them to go do things. And then when you combine that with the autonomous agents like AutoGPT, where you can just give them a goal, then you can say, hey, robot, I'm low on milk. Could you run down to the 7-Eleven? The robot will go, sure, boss. I wonder what it'll be like. When will it be each of our first moment where we're just at a grocery store and a fucking robot comes in and starts picking up peaches and sniffing them? Yeah, that's ripe. It's going to happen. It's not going to be that long. Probably within 5 years. If Elon Musk has his way, right? He's figured out the manufacturing shit, so he's probably gonna pop some stuff out into the world sooner than the world is ready for it. Thanks for the art. I don't know if that Caverno, I don't know if that art was what you were looking for, but I thought that was pretty cool actually. That was pretty cool. So yeah. Any other law books like Amjur the Second? Oh, and other law books like so the stuff you want to do, Black Swan, is very, very, very doable. I would go if you're a little bit geeky, even go read the documentation for embedding at OpenAI. Go to OpenAI. I just go to platform.openai, but let me see what it is here. Platform. Yeah, if you go to platform.openai.com/documentation, and then there's a guide for embeddings, go read that. Or go have ChatGPT read that for you and summarize it for you. Actually, someone wanted to know about that, about some prompting to do. So let's go play with this right now. Let me see how long this document is. Oh, it's not that long. Okay. So here's the page on embeddings in OpenAI's documentation. Okay. So I'm going to copy it. We're going to hop over to ChatGPT. And this is one of these things that these tools are really, really good at. I'm going to go to GPT-4 just because I like it better. And so I'm going to say, based on this documentation, and then I'm going to hit : shift return, does a line break so it doesn't submit this. And then I'm going to put pound, and and then I'm going to put another line break, and I'm going to paste in all of that documentation, and then I'm going to put pound, pound, pound. What the pound, pound, pound does is lets ChatGPT know that that's the beginning and end of the document. You don't have to do that. Like, ChatGPT is incredibly good with unstructured data, with like shitty unstructured. Oh shit! I just got rid of my my double camera. I somehow slid it up. Can I get it back? No. Ah, that. What's that? What's that? No. Anyway, okay. So sorry, ADD panic. Okay, so I said based on this documentation, pound, 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 pasted the documentation, pound, pound, pound. Now I'm going to hit Shift Return again. Now I'm going to say, please summarize what embeddings mean for a non-technical user in 2 sentences. And so now it's going to go read all that for me, and it's going to tell me what's up. Embeddings in simple terms are a way for AI to convert and represent complex information like text into lists of numbers, which can be used to find similarities or differences. Okay, listen. This is still too nerdy. Please use clear metaphors and bring the meaning to life with real world examples. So someone before was asking examples. Someone was asking about prompting. The thing about prompting is it's a lot. It's very different than playing with Google. With Google, we've been kind of trained by Google to create the most concise possible answer. And what happens with ChatGPT is it's more like you're having a conversation with this thing. So if it gives you something you don't like, you can tell it that you don't like it, and also tell it why you don't like it, and then it will just, it will get better. So let's see what it says. I can simplify further. Imagine you're at a large party and you want to introduce people to each other based on their interests. The process of creating embeddings is like making mental notes about everyone's hobbies, background, characteristics. Later, you can use those mental notes, the equivalent of embeddings in AI, it's really cool, to introduce people to one another. Find the most sports-loving person or identify someone who doesn't quite fit the crowd. Yeah, that's really interesting. So it's taking individual words in the context of this congressional, legislation, and it's saying, semantically, what is that? That word is in the context of what meaning, the meaning of the other words around it, right? So like the person with their interests. It's like giving a computer a way to understand and compare the essence of each text, similar to how you understood and compared the essence of each person at the party. That's a good explanation. That's not bad. What app are you using? I don't know what app you're talking about. Let's see. I'm gonna invite someone up here on screen. I don't know who wants to hop up here. Hair Growth Geek, you want to hop up here? Because I think if I talk to you on screen, then when I go back, it'll give me back my... Hello. It looks like you're processing. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
How's it going?
Good. Let me see
Another-
here. I gotta turn the
another-
camera on. Hold on a sec. There I am. Hello,
All right.
hello.
Hello.
How are you tonight? I've been watching you. This is so much fun. I was at my computer trying to keep up. I couldn't.
Yeah, you've been here enough. I cycle through the same thing over and over again.
Awesome. What can I do for you? How can I?
Nothing. Can you? You said you turned on your camera. I don't see you. Can you try turn on?
There we go. I made it smaller. There we go. Hold on. There. Hello. Save it. There we go.
Oh, there
Okay.
you go. Okay, cool. Hello. I don't know. How are you doing? How are things going? Are you playing with any AI stuff?
Yeah, thank you. I am. I was actually sitting here and I was playing with comparing Memento FM to Get Munch, so we can break down some of our YouTube content and take
Oh,
some
cool.
shortcuts
Yeah,
to
yeah,
optimize for short form.
yeah.
And then we post it with repurpose.ai, but it's not the greatest on posting YouTube shorts. So
Yeah, I know. All of the tools right now are a little janky. Like I've played with Vidyo, Vidyo. That's another one that does that. And it's like they're all like okay. It's just like, but that's just the nature of where we are in the biz right now. It'll get better.
well, I got to tell you, the repurpose.io has been helpful. They're not all the way there, but it's really a big help. But what I did this weekend, have you heard of Maverick.ai?
No.
He said, "This is how I spent my July 4th." So, so you know how you have your Klaviyo CRM flow, and you have your thank you card, the band or thank you email, the abandoned email, etc. So what I did was I recorded all those videos, and then they have you sit there and read names for like 15 minutes, which I know sounds really archaic, but they can hit about 80% of the names. So when you abandon your cart,
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
yeah,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, and there's been some very good conversion rates with it. So, and I went into AI and I said, pretend you're Gary V, write me an abandoned cart and thank you email. And so I said, act as Gary V, act as Ogilvy, act as, who's the best, act as Michael Cialdini, act as Daniel Kahneman, act as a neurolinguistic programmer. And so I put all these people in, and the scripts that came out were actually quite similar in their structure, but
They're all doing the same thing. Did anyone show up better than the others?
you know who was the best? Gary V.
Yeah, because he's got more content out there. He
He's
put
just
he puts so much content out there. That makes perfect sense to me. Because
yeah.
all the other guys, all their shit's behind a paywall, but Gary V's just like, fuck it, here it is.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I will share with you the results. They're processing the videos now, and we're going to set up our Klaviyo flows tomorrow.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we'll be running our paid ads to that, as well as anybody who visits the website, because we use retention and other services to grab the website and add them to our Klaviyo. So even if you don't give us your email, we still spy on
Yeah, well, of course,
you. And we're spying on you by the keywords that you're using to search. And when you go to my competitor site, so I gave them a list of my competitor sites, I gave them a list of my top keywords, and we're going to try to match, and then we're going to try to match you to your name and the product you're looking for.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I mean, all the stuff that you're talking about, I would imagine if you're doing that much analysis, you're probably paying a fair amount of money for that. You're going to have a blast with Code Interpreter, I think. You just take a bunch of your raw data and just dump it in there and start asking it questions. You'll be able to do all sorts of custom reports. That's going to be insane. All right. Well. So definitely, if you start playing around with Code Interpreter, let me know how it's going. Because
yeah, as soon as we get enough data that makes it worthwhile. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for popping up here.
You're welcome. Bye, guys. Good
Bye.
to see you. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you.
Yeah. Turn on. All right. I got my dual camera back. Thank you, Hair Geek. All right. There's that. I got my dual camera back. That was awesome. Thanks for popping up here. Prompts.chat is very helpful. Check that one out. Oh, it's Shan. Okay. All right. I lost my place in my questions again. Okay. So who's here? So I don't know who's here. I don't know how long you've been here. Anyway, my name's Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. As you can tell, this is a rambly sort of ADHD nightmare hellscape of enjoyable wacky fun with an old guy talking about new stuff. If you have questions about AI, pop them below. I'll do what I can to answer them. If I can't answer them, I try to be straight about that too. The ChatGPT isn't good at writing people on my last nerve. Yeah, I know. I know. I just kind of feel like it's like, I'm boring and uninspired, and I asked ChatGPT for something, and it gave me something boring and uninspired. Like, well, yeah. Can you explain prompt creation? Yeah, so that's what someone was saying to you, Shannon. Go to the prompts.chat, this thing, go there, and that will explain to you what prompting is. So prompting is just a geeky term for talking. So you're or here's maybe a better way to put it. What prompting is finding ways to ask better questions to get better answers. So what ChatGPT is, when you go to ChatGPT, it looks kind of like Google. And in fact, let me go, since you're kind of starting from the ground floor on the prompting stuff. I'm going to do what I call some parlor tricks, because let me give you a little bit of primer, sort of technically, some of the things that are happening here. It's called ChatGPT. The GPT part of that stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. You don't need to know much of any of that, but generative basically means it's generating words. So it's actually writing original content for you based on what you ask it. Pre-trained means it's been pre-trained. You don't need to supply it with data. You can just ask it questions. What's it been trained on? It's been trained on essentially all of the public internet, for as much as OpenAI could get over the past 4 or 5 years. And it's been trained on like all of Wikipedia and all of the blogs and all of the websites and all of the research papers and all of the programming languages and all of the documentation, and just like everything you can imagine that's been dumped onto the public internet for the past 35 or 40 years is inside this thing, right? So it looks like just a lovely, simple little prompt message, but you're not searching for links on the internet like what Google does. It's got all of the content of the internet just sitting in there. And then the transformer part of GPT it's just the technology that allows these tools to be trained on all this data. And Google invented it, and now they're at risk because of what ChatGPT has done. Okay, so some of the parlor tricks. So you can kind of ask it anything. So I could say, let's see, write me a sonnet about how lovely thunderstorms are. And it will write a lovely sonnet. And it did that actually quite well. It did it better than it's done it for me in the past. So in the skies where tempests dance and thunder roars, a spectacle unfolds, enchanted sight, the air ablaze with electricity's might, as rain cascades, lightning strikes the shores, right? So okay, good poem. Can you make that a country song? Boom. And it will just write you a country song. It knows what verses are. It knows what choruses are. It writes them. It matches them. What's the chorus here? Oh, lovely thunderstorms rolling on through, your crackling lightning and raindrops too. You paint the sky with your electric hues. In this country boy's heart, I'm singing the blues. I could say things like, please add sad country chords. And it will now adds in D's, C's, and G's, which if you're in a country song, we can do that. But I could say, those are boring chords and progressions. Make them more interesting. And I misspelled a bunch of words there. It doesn't care about that. So it threw it into A minor. And now it's giving me some more interesting chords. Okay, so I can do that. So now I can go, please make this a table and compare the main concepts with Kenny Rogers, the gambler. Why that just popped in my head? Hey, Gen X is hard, man. Gen X is hard. So now it's literally writing a table comparing that shitty song I just wrote about thunderstorms with Kenny Rogers, the gambler. Theme: beauty and power of thunderstorms. Theme: wisdom and life lessons. Setting: heartland, wild winds, stormy skies. Setting: gambling table, train journey. So it does that. So now I could say, make me a Python application that asks someone for a theme and then writes them a country song. Certainly. Boom. There's your code. So prompting is as painful as it is to watch me type, and I get told that a fair amount. I didn't just come on this free internet channel to watch you type for an hour. Well, apparently you did, butthole, because now you're commenting on it. But prompting is that interaction, and it's I saw it referred to a couple of days ago as AI psychology or GPT psychology, that you're almost trying to get in the head of, okay, if I want to get this thing to respond to me as if it were William Shakespeare, what would I have to tell it to do that? Well, I could tell it, I want you to act like William Shakespeare, and I want you to respond only in iambic pentameter, and I want you to, make every other line rhyme, and whatever it might be. And so that's what prompting is. And so prompts.chat, that document right there, will give you some hints and lessons into that direction. And then once you sort of get it, I say this a lot, that my hope for everyone on this channel is that you play with ChatGPT long enough until you have a Kevin McAllister moment, which is from Home Alone, right? Because at some point when you play with this tool, you'll crack through those parlor tricks and you'll do something that's relevant to your identity or something you're good at, or maybe you're good at whatever, writing recipes or gardening or copywriting or writing strategies or doing marketing. Hair Growth Geek was just up here. She's obviously really good at the marketing, right? So as you start to play with this thing in the area that you're good at some point it's going to do something where you're just going to go, oh, really? Should I be excited or should I be scared? Yes. The answer is yes. I'm the most excited I've been in decades, and I'm totally unsettled because everything's changing. Everything in my business is changing. Everything in marketing is changing. If I owned an advertising holding company right now, I would be terrified. Everything's changing. So, hope that helps. Can you demo something from prompts.chat? Sure, let's go do that. That's a good idea. Let's go to prompts.chat. Yeah. Prompts.chat. So this is prompts.chat. It's awesome ChatGPT prompts. Just some dude made this, and then I think other people can add to it. I don't know if this is even being updated anymore, but it doesn't really matter. So this just sort of explains what ChatGPT is. It gives you a free ebook about writing prompts. I think it sells you an ebook about writing prompts. I wouldn't buy that. Build your own GPT prompt app. That talks about the API. And then we get down into the sort of meat of the document. So the top thing is just a primer. The meat of the document is act like an English translator, right? Act as a Linux terminal. Act as a blank position interviewer. So if you want to practice for a job, you could say, act as a project manager interviewer, right? And you can just change out that thing. So let's go find something interesting here, and then we'll play with it. Act as a travel guide, plagiarism checker, advertiser, storyteller, football commentator, stand-up comedian. I don't want to do stand-up comedian because I'm a big stand-up comedy fan, and when it does bad comedy, it's going to make me cranky. Act as a debater. That could be an interesting one. Movie critic. All right, let's do movie critic. All right, so we'll read what the prompt is. I want you to act as a movie critic. You will develop an engaging and creative movie review. You can cover topics like plot, themes, and tone, acting and characters, direction, score, cinematography, production design, special effects, editing, pace, and dialogue. The most important aspect, though, is to emphasize how the movie has made you feel, which is interesting. What really resonated with you. You can also be critical of the movie. Please avoid spoilers. My first request is, okay, so we're going to copy that. We're going to hop over to ChatGPT, or as they say on TikTok, you can make money with ChatGPT. All right, and if you're new here, if you listen to those people, then you're no longer welcome. You can't listen to those people. They're all full of shit. They're just trying to take your money. You know how they're making money with ChatGPT? Getting you to click on a stupid fucking link. Okay. So we're going to modify this a bit. I want you to act as the movie critic Roger Ebert. You can also be critical about the movie. Please avoid spoilers. Okay. Let's see. Write your review so that it is formatted with, bold headlines and such, and organize the review into distinct sections. Distinct sections. Okay. Now, why am I doing that? I don't know, because distinct. Because one of the things that you can start to do is you can push it to go move just beyond a writing exercise and start to think, how are we actually going to present this, right? So write your review so that's formatted with bold headlines and such, and organize the reviews into distinct sections. Each review should be 600 words. So we'll go to length. We'll try to make this consistent. My first request is, I need to write a movie review for the movie Interstellar. Now we're going to do it for Pulp Fiction. All right, bang. So notice that it's created bold things. There's a thing in ChatGPT called Markdown, which it actually is sort of coding this on the back end so that it displays things as like bold and normal and italic and things like that. So title, Pulp Fiction, a symphony of style and substance. The intricate dance of narrative and theme. Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction isn't merely a film, it's a paradigm-shifting spectacle that wriggles and dances its way through a genre blender, creating a mesmerizing mix of high art and low culture. Tarantino's audacious narrative structures, bending time and playing with, right? So solid writing, spectacular performances and authentic characters, right? So it has now figured out that, because I told it I wanted to break this into, how did I put the prompt? Organize the review into distinct sections. So it's doing that. And I thought it was going to give us generic things like pacing or plot, but no, it's actually writing headlines. So spectacular performances and authentic characters. In the center of the swirling cinematic vortex are Tarantino's fully realized characters brought to life by a stellar ensemble cast: John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Vincent Vega. That's not right, is it? Isn't it Vincent? It's not Vincent Vega. I think that's wrong. Anyway, Uma Thurman's Mia Wallace is more than a mafia mole. She is a mirror reflecting the desires and fears of men. Blah blah blah. A masterclass in direction and writing, artistry behind the camera, critique style over substance. Right. So brilliant. Okay. So there's our review. I say, how about a review of Caddyshack? Again, show my Gen X stripes. Larger than life, not so larger than laughs. The cast of Caddyshack is an ensemble of comedians who deliver a course in comedic timing. Carl Spackler, Chevy Chase. All right, so we'll let that keep going. So that's writing that one. So that's interesting. So now I'm going to say, give me a table that compares the characters and plot elements of these two classics. And so here's a comparison. So now it's writing it created a table. So here it says, here's your main characters, here's your supporting characters, primary plot, secondary plots, character arcs. The character arc for Caddyshack is generally shallow, prioritizing comedy over dramatic growth. Yeah, that's the point. So there you go. So this idea of telling ChatGPT to act as a specific thing, it actually, why this works is because these GPT models have been trained on such massive amounts of data. When you tell it to act as a movie critic, or in this case, Roger Ebert, right? You're kind of narrowing the world of data that it's looking at to a much smaller subset. So if I just said, write me a movie review of Pulp Fiction, it'll just go look at everything out on the internet, and it'll pull up Twitter posts and whatever it has in there, just any idiot that said anything about it, from IMDb to some blog, to Roger Ebert. But if you say, I want you to act as Roger Ebert, it kind of filters out all that other crap and focuses it. So if you want ChatGPT to help you with your quantum mechanics problem solving or conceptualizing or understanding, point it in that direction, and you'll get much more focused and generally more accurate, less hallucinations. Because the way hallucinations work is if you're casting too wide a net, it will just kind of average out all of the data that it has, and it's a prediction engine, so it's just predicting one word after the other, and so it will just include shit that has nothing to do with reality because it doesn't know any better. It's not actually looking at what it sends to you. All right. Da-da-da-da. Janky. Shame is my love language. You can make money with ChatGPT. So Kyleisms. It's so true. I do use janky a lot. And shame is my love language. All right. I just got a job engineering automation systems. Cool. AI is getting implemented right now. Yep. AI and automation, this generative AI shit and automation. Oh, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be like magic. Because if you've ever done any sort of automation historically, or just any kind of computing, any kind of programming, you have to think of all of the logic trees, right? Like you just have to anticipate every possible path people might go down, and then you program in all that logic. You don't need to do that with this thing. It's just, it knows all the shit. That's why I'm so excited about Code Interpreter coming, because you can give it imperfect data and it will clean up your data and turn it into perfect data. It'll find anomalies in your data and fix it. Right? So you've got a bunch of people entering, Your programmer didn't do you right and didn't break up your fields enough when when your customers are inputting their addresses and all their addresses are all fucked up. ChatGPT, you'll just go fix all that. I just built a Slack integration with ChatGPT. Yeah, I've got one of those too. It's super cool. I don't. My problem right now is here's something I'm starting to get smarter about this, but it's taken me a while. I'm falling into the trap of being intimidated by there's too much possibility. Like this thing can do too much. So I get like blank screen syndrome, right? Where like blank page syndrome, where it's just like, since you could write anything, like you don't know where to start. I'm starting to find I'm doing that with both AI images, with ChatGPT, with a lot of the tools that we're using, with automation tools like Zapier. The thing that hit me today is I need to flip my mental model to not think about what's possible, but to actually start with what's a problem I have right now. Like I don't care if I know how to solve it or not. What's a problem that I have right now that needs solving? And start with that. And then from that say, okay, how would I solve that with ChatGPT or with Midjourney or with this or with that or with that? And that's something that I just feel like I have to shift, because it's this stuff is very seductive. Like once you have your Kevin McAllister moment, it's very seductive. You get sucked into it, and then you'll find yourself spending 4 hours like writing the great American novel, in Shakespearean iambic pentameter, and then you'll realize I've got this book now that no one's going to read and I don't even really care about, but I did it because it was there, right? That it's a little like that. So I think the idea of focusing on a specific problem and then just, being less seduced by the technology is a big one that I need to work on. Appreciate your efforts. You're a great teacher. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Please tap. It's freezing. Oh, is it still freezing? Sorry. Is there an application that wouldn't you stream from your computer? There is, but it's for Windows only, and I'm a Macintosh guy. I'm an Apple fanboy from way back. I've hated Microsoft for 35 years, so I'm very conflicted now that they're acting like Apple, and they're more innovative than really anyone out there right now because of what they're doing. In conjunction with OpenAI, I think they're up there. So I pay for ChatGPT just for email stuff. I'm still afraid to share what I do at work. Yeah, there's a really fascinating article by this guy named Ethan Mullock, who's a Wharton professor, called "Detecting the Secret Cyborgs." And ampersand, you are what Ethan Mullock would call a secret cyborg, which basically what he says in the article is these generative AI tools are incredible personal productivity tools, but they're not really ready for prime time for businesses. And they're also potentially very disruptive for businesses, and they're also potentially legally and privacy and security risks for businesses. So businesses are like, yeah, we can't really fuck with that right now. And I don't know if I want to, because I think that could screw some things up. And the employees are like, holy fucking shit, I just got done in 4 hours what normally takes me the whole week. I'm not going to tell anyone because that's fucking awesome. So those are the secret cyborgs. And what Ethan Mullock's saying in the piece is companies need to get their shit together and say, hey, you've got sort of, a whole class of employees here that's becoming secretly AI literate. That's not it's benefiting your business, but not directly, right? And so the businesses need to create safe zones to invite these secret cyborgs out of the shadows, and really start innovating as organizations. So I think it's absolutely fascinating. Oh Lord, he's going into character. It happens. I haven't done it too much tonight, a little bit, but as I get more tired, I tend to go into more characters. It's also like I've noticed, like I don't know why I'm doing self-analysis on my TikTok performances, but I've noticed, like if I'm in a bad mood or cranky or just low energy, I tend to be just like, AI is fantastic. Here's how you learn it. And then if I'm in a good mood, I'm like, da 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 bow. So where am I tonight? I'm somewhere in between. I'm Midland on stage. Do you use Zapier with ChatGPT? And if so, in what capacity have you found it most useful? So the most useful things I'm using Zapier for right now is just the first things I used it for. Like, you know how when you first sort of crack a technology, it's like that use case embeds on you. So it's like the first thing I did with ChatGPT was I built a content generation engine. So it was a thing that asked someone questions and then generated a bunch of social media content. I did it first in Python, and then I recreated it in Zapier, and I called it the social media marketing machine. And it's cool. I mean, it works. You answer some questions about a topic, and it generates a bunch of actually really good social media content that really doesn't need editing. And so I do a lot of that. I did one for my business. So my business is called Storyvine, and it's a video technology platform. We have an app that guides it. It provides prompts for someone. We're a prompting company, and we have been for 11 years. It provides prompts for someone to answer to tell a specific story. So if it's someone who was diagnosed with cancer, it'll prompt them, when were you diagnosed? And, what did it feel like when you heard the news? And how have you been treating it? And how are you feeling? And, all that sort of stuff. And so writing those prompts is a very particular skill that we've gotten good at over the years. So one of the engines that I built was an engine that automatically writes those prompts for us based on some questions that we ask a client. So we get on a phone with a client and an agency, which historically would take us 3 to 5 creative meetings just to get them to understand how we think about questions versus how the agency does versus that. And it was always this confusing mess. And so now what we do is in the course of the meeting, we ask them questions. What's the kind of story you want to tell? Who's the audience? What's the message? What are you trying to accomplish? And then when we submit that form, it goes off to ChatGPT. It generates 3 sets of questions, a short, medium, and long set of questions for that specific story, for that specific client. And then it sends it to our Slack channel. And so the account team now, when we're on one of these creative calls, we ask the client questions. It generates these prompts. They literally copy and paste them into a Word doc, tweak them kind of as we're talking. They might add one or subtract one. And they're good. They're like, we don't need to tweak much. And then we literally just pop them up on screen and say, well, so based on the answers that you've given us, here's a starter set of prompts. And so we don't have to explain how we write prompts or what we do. They're just done. And then all we're doing is tweaking the prompts that are there. What we would have done historically is say, well, based on this story, what are the kinds of questions we want to ask? And then the agency would go, well, why don't we go off and we'll come back in a week or two and give you that. And then 3 weeks later, they would send us 27 questions for a 2-minute video. And we're like, you can't ask 27 questions in a 2-minute video. And there would be all this back and forth. So that's gone. So that's what I'm doing with it. We've got OpenAI's Whisper transcription tool built into our system now. So every video in the system now has interactive transcriptions. And I'm using Zapier to prototype omni-channel content generation based on a video transcript, right? So here's what the person said in the video. Here's the title of the video. Here's the YouTube description. Here's a tweet. And doing all that sort of stuff. So I'm using it a lot. It's pretty cool. And there's so much more you can do, but that's a fun one that I've been playing with. Would you be willing to beta test an AI app I'm working hard as hell on to get launch ready? I'll take a look at it. Yeah, just my contact info is in my what's it called? Profile. There's a link tree there. Oh, you know what? I wanna make a request to everyone on ye old channel. So a couple of days ago, someone had asked, hey, do you do a workshop or do you have a workshop? And I said, well, no, not really. But I now have a graphic for a workshop. So I'll put my little head here, like I'm actually talking to you. So I'm thinking about putting together a workshop, but it's a lot of work, which I'm not afraid of work. I don't mind it being a lot of work, but what I don't want to do is just create a workshop in a vacuum. So if you go to that URL below, the linktree/real Kyle Shannon, the first link there is a link to a survey that's got 3 questions in it. It's like your name, email, and 3 questions. And so the questions are just like, what do you want this workshop to be? Like, what are you trying? Where are you in your AI adventure? You know, what are you hoping to learn? And then like, where do you hope you are a year from now? They're actually really simple questions. So if you'd be so kind, hop over there while I'm rambling and just, if you'd be interested in the workshop. And then that way, when I put together the workshop, I can do it in a way that serves as many people as possible, as well as possible, because I'm codependent. I want everyone to be happy. If you're not happy, I failed as a human. All right. So yes, I'd be willing to at least talk to you about testing it. Listen, I have ADD. Here's what I can tell you about my beta testing. If you want all of the things tested, I'm not your guy. If you want me to break your app as quickly as possible, I'm your guy. I can usually break an app within 30 seconds. My developers hate me for that. Because they're like, okay, we got this. It's good now. It's solid. I'm like, 30 seconds. In fact, we just got rid of one developer. We added a full stack developer, and the full stack developer is actually pretty good. And it was the first time in I think 4 years that I was given a beta version of our app, and I didn't break it in 2 entire sessions. First time in a long time. So that was pretty cool. In the beginning, that was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Oh my God. That's funny. Okay. Did the AI Salon meetup happen last night? Yes, it did, Miss Birch, and it was good. We did a thing. So normally at the AI Salon, let me give you that info as well. So the AI Salon is. It was funny. We were actually working on the positioning today, and we're like, well, what is the salon? So the salon is this. We call people AI adventurers in the salon. So it's a community of people that are all basically starting the adventure of getting into generative AI, or they're already on the adventure. But like the common theme is that it's people that see this as an adventure. There's some shit to learn here. It's going to fuck some stuff up. Like a good adventure, there's reasons to be excited, and like a good adventure, there's reasons to be terrified, right? And that's what the salon is. So if you go to the salon.ai, that's a link tree that's got a link to the meetup. We meet every other week on Tuesdays. We met last night because the 4th was on Tuesday. And we normally have a speaker come in that is, in the industry somehow. They're either an artist or there's someone in business. And then we just talk to one another, and we have the speaker talk, and people can ask questions. And it's a really great community. And what we did last night was we didn't have a speaker, but we had what we call AI confessionals. And so everyone in the group who wanted to had 10 minutes to talk about something they learned, some failure they had, some app that they're working on, some business that they're starting, some cool experience that they had, some art that they want to show. And it was just great. And, one guy just got on and said, okay, you're all talking about prompting. Here's some, prompting tips I came up with. And we record them. They're 2 hours long, and they go up on YouTube. So we've got recordings of back ones. That link is there. And then we also have a Discord. So the Discord where I show Mid-Journey stuff here, that's the AI Salon Discord. And we have a LinkedIn group as well. So yeah, so it happened. And if you want to be a part of it, please join. Is GitHub Copilot useful for non-devs? Does it have a prompt like GPT? I assume it is. I have not deeply, all the sort of coding stuff I've done within ChatGPT, just because I'm not really an engineer. So I'm usually just sort of dicking around trying to get some little chunk of code modified rather than, building a whole application. It is ostensibly GPT, that's optimized for coding. But I don't know how it's implemented enough, and I think it's more like a pair programmer where you're kind of programming your thing, and it's sort of assisting you along the way rather than a distinct experience. So I don't actually know. you can do a lot of coding in ChatGPT. GPT-4 in particular is quite good. Adobe Text is awesome, but you can't use it on a commercial site. They'll change that, MCAT. Right now it's in beta, so they're basically saying we don't until we have this thing dialed in to the point that we're happy with it. We don't want people using the outputs commercially because someone will produce something that they'll get whatever sued for, or someone will write a tweet about, and then that'll get back to Adobe, and Adobe shouldn't have had boobies in their model or whatever stupid fucking thing will come up. So it'll get there. It's just not there yet. You're not wrong. They must do it on purpose. Too smart to make that mistake. I'm not sure what I was talking about there. Kyle, will you explain your setup in detail? I don't get how the little window works. Yeah. So when I first go live, there's like all these like 8 little icons that you can set up, like goals and effects and all that sort of shit. One of those options just says dual, D-U-A-L, and it's dual camera. So it's like a little icon with two cameras stacked on top of one another. And then when you turn that on, you can either choose a square window, a round window, or none. I suppose none just means you're not turning it on. And then all it's doing is it's using my back camera, for that, and my front camera here. And then if I tap in that window, so I can move the window, like over my face, which that's probably better for everyone, right? Solid. Although, wait, maybe we should just cover up the neck fat there. So I can do that. And then if I tap on it, it flips them. And so that's all it is. There's nothing fancy here. Except me. I'm fancy. I do declare, he's so fancy. Did you notice his hair? What was going on with that? Does he do that on purpose? Good Lord. All right, robot dog. Write my term paper and do a flip. Exactly, and the robot dog will. Robot dog, stop humping my leg. Robot dog, start humping my leg. Robot dog, what is love? Exactly. You joke. We're not that far from that. We really aren't. Oh my goodness. What's going on with the sound? I don't know. It could be my shitty voice. It could be my shitty internet. The absolute nightmare of RoboDog running into the grocery store by me. Thanks for the nightmares. I'm telling you, man, I am guessing within 3 years, there's 58 people on this right now. I assume that means including me. No, but probably in addition. There's nearly 60 people on here. I think within 3 years, one of us is going to be in a fucking grocery store and we're going to hear zzz, 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 and we're going to go, no. And you're going to turn around and there's going to be a fucking robot picking up a box of Cheetos. Well, those are in bags. I can't even. I'm so upset about that prospective meeting that I don't know what's in a box or a bag anymore. All these robots walking around Costco, filling up the carts in like mathematically perfect piles. How long until general intelligence? I don't know. Ray Kurzweil is predicting 2029 for the singularity, which I think is in the neighborhood of that. That feels plausible to me. I mean, there's a group of Microsoft researchers put out a really long paper, like a 120-page paper, 3 or 4 months ago, where they were doing tests on GPT-4, and they said GPT-4 is showing signs of general intelligence. But there's a couple of things about it that just aren't there, right? It doesn't have memory. It doesn't have reasoning. It doesn't understand what it wrote, even though the things it's writing feel very human, and it will respond empathetically sometimes and in ways that looks like reasoning. And some of the stuff it does borders on reasoning. It is. There are, unanticipated emergent properties, the technicians call them, the emergent properties are like, holy fuck, I didn't know it could do that. We didn't train it to do. Why is it doing that? Can it do that? So that's happening. But it's not true reasoning. It doesn't have memory, right? So once you start to create these autonomous agents where they start behaving on their own and it starts to have some self-awareness, right? I think the building blocks for general intelligence, there's components of, we see components of them in a lot of the research papers that are coming out right now where they're trying to work on alignment. Alignment basically meaning we want these robots to align with the human values, like humans are valuable. We want that alignment. So OpenAI just announced 2 days ago they're dedicating 20% of their resources to what they're calling super alignment, which is basically don't kill us, please. So I think 20% of their resources to building a tool that has AGI, super intelligence or general intelligence first, and then putting 20% of your efforts towards making sure that it's good for humanity. That's good. It's better than 0. Might want to up it to 50, but let's start with 20. Let's see how evil it gets, how smart it gets, and then how evil it gets. Can you talk about neural networks and or deep learning? I can talk a bit more about how ChatGPT works. I don't have enough expertise on the neural networks and deep learning piece of it to really probably do anyone any good. If you want to know like how ChatGPT works, how the diffusion models work, I'm good with that. I'm just too inexperienced, and frankly, it's not stuff that I could contribute anything to anyway. So I'm not really learning it. Like I don't know. It was 5 or 6 years ago, and Google did whatever sort of nice press release that was like TensorFlow is now available to play with, and you can do machine learning. And I'm like, oh, good. I'm going to go learn machine learning. And I went and I started reading the paper for TensorFlow, and I'm like, no, I'm not. It's just like I didn't even fucking understand the words in it, and I didn't have ChatGPT to be able to, distill it for me. Explain it to me like I'm 5. Explain it to me like I didn't go to Stanford. Explain it to me like I have a degree in acting, which I do. So it's probably not good for me to talk about neural networks. I mean, what I can tell you is Google invented this thing called the transformer, which allowed these neural networks to be the machine learning models sitting on the neural networks to be trained on massive data sets. And the more compute power you throw at them, the better they get. And that's how OpenAI did what they did with GPT-4. I also heard, who was it that was saying it? George Hotz. I don't know if you know George Hotz. He's from a company called Comma. He was the first guy to jailbreak an iPhone when he was 17, and he became famous for that. And then he started a company called Comma, which was a self-driving car that he was designing out of his garage in San Francisco. And he sort of spilled the beans on GPT-4 is actually apparently like 16 different models and 8 different weights. I don't know. It's apparently a hell of a lot more sophisticated and complicated than they're letting on. So it's significantly different than 3.5 structurally, apparently, according to George Hotz. But he likes fucking with people anyway. So if you've not watched videos of George Hotz programming, if you want to see the human equivalent of GPT, like the speed with which that, so if you haven't seen GPT do programming, so let me see, write a C# application that combines Flappy Birds with Snake. First, the game's rules. Oh, so this is inventing a game. So now it should code now. Now we'll need several classes. So here's the classes. So it's writing us the documentation of the game it's going to build, and now it's building the code. So watching George Hott's program he's faster than this. Make it a Python script that I don't know sorts ingredients from a shopping list. Sure. Here you go. So watching George Hott's program is like he like types this fast and he talks this fast. Like if you think I talk fast, George Hott's is like 10 times faster. It looks like my sound is fucked up somehow. So embeddings is like an SQL code query. It's no. Well, all right. So you want to see, okay. So someone was asking about neural networks. I won't tell you about them. I'll tell you how large language models work. I've showed this a couple of times before. If you've seen this before, feel free to take a nap or take off. Keynote. This is how this thing works is like the more you understand how this thing works, the more mind-blowing it actually is. Okay, so let me get my little head out of the way. Yeah. Oh no, I just lost my camera again. God damn it. All right. Whatever. Okay, so we have this thing called ChatGPT, GPT, Generative Pre-trained Transformer. I talked about that earlier. Generative meaning it's generating stuff. Pre-trained means it's pre-trained on all of the internet, basically. Or it can be on whatever, but in the case of ChatGPT, it's trained on the public web. And then Transformer is the technology that lets that happen. The large language model is the core base model, the like GPT 3.5 and GPT 4. That's the large language model. And in the latent space, this is how it works. So there are similarities to a SQL query, but the SQL queries, for the most part, are explicit. You have to have good data, well organized, and then you have to query on that good data, good, well-organized data. What happens with these large language models is when you talk about embedding, you're embedding a document, it's taking all of the words in that document and it's clustering them into these mathematical vector spaces. So they call it a vector database. So what you see on screen right here is just two dimensions, right? So you've got an XY coordinate, and then these clusters are numbers. Each of these dots represents a number in this XY coordinate space, and then they're clustered by meaning, and then each one is tied to a specific word, right? So the real models are like 500 dimensions or 1,000 dimensions, or even multiple thousands of dimensions. So it is impossible to comprehend how complex it is, but this is the simple 2D XY version of it. Okay, so that's the latent space. The way ChatGPT works is that based on your prompt, the large language model predicts the next word mathematically and then repeats that over and over and over. So if your prompt is, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy blank, we all know as humans, well, that's dog, because we've heard this 1,000 times. But how did we get to that word dog? Well, how ChatGPT and how these large language models do it is in this latent space. When you type your prompt, you're creating a mathematical sort of probability function that says there is a word that is the most likely to be there. And so what it does is it kind of deselects all the clusters that are not relevant, and then it selects, like I got a bunch of light blue dots here, and these might all be animals, right? And so one might be a cat, one might be a whatever. And then one of those numbers is going to have the highest probability. So that says 96%. If you go look at what's actually, at that vector space, It's just a long string of numbers that are the address of that vector space. And then that string of numbers is attached to the word dog. And then what the large language model does is it sticks the word dog into your sentence. And then it does that over and over and over again. So when it writes you a 500-word response, it's doing it one word at a time by just doing this over and over and over again. And that's why that idea of tell ChatGPT to act as a screenwriter, it will like narrow your search into one of these semantic clusters, basically. So why you'll get better answers is because it didn't get smarter, it got less smart. You made it specialize a little bit, right? Because it's designed on everything. It's got all the latent space, it's got all the words in all the semantic clusters, and when you narrow it down, you're narrowing down that semantic cluster. Trippy, right? Isn't that insane? I lost my I lost my double camera again. So I'll put on a background. We've been in this rodeo a few times. We know how to deal with this stupid shit. Yeah, man. So I hope that answers your questions. It's like a SQL query if instead of writing SQL queries, you just said, hey, can I have some shit? And it gives it to you. And Code Interpreter, which is coming this week to a ChatGPT near you, apparently is going to do that even better. Even more better. Hi, Professor Sonia. What's happening? This is dope. I appreciate that. Oh, it just jumped me to the bottom again. Dang you, TikTok. I'm afraid. I know. The call is coming from inside the house. It's crazy. This shit's crazy. This shit's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, Vincent Vega is right from Caddyshack. Great. That's good. Thank you. Yeah, that's pretty legit. You pay for this one? I pay for ChatGPT if that's what the question was. Prompt engineering needs to be better. Here's the deal with prompt engineering. You ain't gonna need to do it. If you're an engineer, if you are building applications, you're gonna have to be good at prompt engineering. But even then, these things are gonna start prompting themselves and they're gonna start assisting us. It's gonna get much, much easier to just say, make me a poem about the sky, and it will figure out, does it need to ask you more questions about that? Does it just go ahead and pick, based on all of your preferences, it's going to pick a poet that it knows that you like. So the prompting stuff is going to drift to the background increasingly, and probably pretty quickly, probably within a year, maybe two. That's amazing. I wonder how well the code runs. The code runs well. My first, the code that I was showing you before, my real breakthrough, my epiphany with ChatGPT happened in December. So it was like a week or two after it came out. I'm sitting in the living room with my wife. She's watching some TV show that I was not interested in, and I'm like, ADDing out on ChatGPT. ChatGPT, it's exciting. So I'm doing that, and I said, "Oh, I read on Twitter that this ChatGPT can code, and I've heard that I should learn Python." And I don't have the attention span to do coding, but I'm like, maybe this can code. So I said, hey, write me a Python application that takes an input, and it did. It wrote this Python code, and then I did exactly what you did. I realized it wrote Python code. I said, I don't know how to read Python code. I certainly don't know how to run it, right? So I said, I don't know how to run Python code. It said, sure, no problem. Just go to your terminal and type in this command line and then do this and install this and this library. And I'm like, no. I don't want to do anything on the command line. Isn't there a website I can just paste this shit in and see if it works? And it said, oh, sure. And it gave me Replit. And it described, okay, copy this code from here, paste it into the left pane on Replit, and hit the run button. I was like, okay. And I pasted the Python code into Replit, and I hit the run button, and it went, error. So I copied the error, and I went back to ChatGPT, and I said, I did what you told me, and it gave me this error. It said, well, you don't have this library installed. And I'm like, how do you install the library? Right? Like working with ChatGPT is like working with a very simple intern that's the smartest fucking intern in the history of interns. Like knows everything, but needs direction on everything, right? So it said, sure, you go click on this icon, a search window will pop up in the upper right, search for this library name, hit install, and then it should run. And within 90 minutes, I had built a functioning content generating application in Python that I was running in Replit that would ask you for a topic, then it would ask you 3 questions about that topic, and then it would write you 5 pieces of social media content. Tweets, a hashtag cloud, a blog post, and what else did I do? Oh, a YouTube script. It's like in 90 minutes, never having written a line of Python, fully functional. So yes, it runs. Now, if you're a real engineers are going to look at that shit and go, "Wow, it's sloppy, or it's too tight, or not tight enough, or whatever." Like, there's nuances to it. So, being an engineer and sort of pair programming with this stuff is the way to go, because experienced engineers know what's good and what's not. So they can take the best of what these things do and leverage them. It's also really good at documentation. You can take code and say, write me documentation for this code or for this API, and it'll do it. Or just pop the code in there. Have it grab some code out of a random bot out of some stock trading site. Just pop the code in and tell it to tell you what that code does. It will tell you that it's a bot, and it'll tell you probably what model it uses. So she's doing data analytics. This is dope. I don't know where I was before. Okay, here this is where I was. Okay, good. Let's see. Regenerate. Geez, that's amazing. I wonder how the code runs. We just did that one. Down, because it'll hit the news and 3 days later it's patched. That's pretty legit. Not much substance. He was the character. Vincent Vega was right. Pretty damn good. It's just parsing info it scrapes. Wrong, Chad. It's not. I just explained to you how it worked. It's okay. Well, it's not parsing it. It's not parsing it. It's not. That's not how it's working. It's doing word probability. So what ChatGPT is just like when you're in Google, when you're writing a Gmail and you write most of a sentence and it sort of shows you the 4 predicted words that come next, that sentence completion, that's what it's doing. So it's what it's not doing is it's not taking chunks of, like when I said act as Roger Ebert, it's not taking chunks of his review and copying and pasting them into the answer. It's kind of amalgamating all of the possible words in that semantic region and saying, of all these words, which is the next most probable single word? And then it takes that entire prompt and that word and says, okay, based on all that, what's the next most probable word? And then what's the next most probable word? So it's literally the generative part of generative pre-trained transformer is it's generating original content. It's mind-blowing that it does what it does. Like, how anyone figured this shit out and figured out latent space and vector databases and 1,000 dimension mathematical, like just the level of math in this shit is just mind numbing. But this goes back to my favorite. There's an Arthur C. Clarke saying, any significantly advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. This shit's magic. It's magic. If you understand how it works, I think it gets more magical. Question, ChatGPT 4 includes all of the visible internet. Probably not all of it, but basically all of the public internet. So anything that's behind firewalls, like private corporate data, like Bloomberg just introduced a thing a few months ago called Bloomberg GPT, where they took all of their proprietary financial data and they created a GPT, they did all the embeddings of that and did a private version of Bloomberg data that you can interact with GPT. So that stuff's not in the model, but basically as much data as they could find, as OpenAI, could find and tag and do what they needed to do for the embedding that was on the public internet, that's what it's been trained on. So yeah, it's essentially all of the visible internet. Like, realistically, it's probably some percentage, like 70%. I don't know. Like, they might know. Like, there might be There might be a percentage that they know it is, and I assume GPT-5 will be, if GPT-3 was 50% and 4 was 70%, I'm sure 5 will be like 95% plus a bunch of proprietary data sets where they cut deals with those companies. How it resonated from Wikipedia. So Wikipedia's reception from Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a general opinion site. He definitely paid for this. I don't know what I definitely paid for, but possibly. Caddyshack sucks. Chad, you're so dark. If you're going to troll, please be creative. Boring trolls, not interesting. It parses. Prompt engineering. Are you the prompt engineer? No, I'm a dude. I'm an entrepreneur. But I'm a writer. Being good with words helps with the prompting. I sent an email yesterday, had to edit it to not sound so friendly. Grumpy old man, obviously. You can, if it makes shit that's too flowery for you, you can tell it to limit prose. It'll make it more sparse. You can tell it to make it more serious. You can tell it to make it more firm. I saw a TikTok today. I was driving and I was flipping through TikToks, and this guy goes, what did it say? Rewrite this resignation letter. I fucking hate this company. I fucking hate the way you treat me. The stupid fucking dinners you force me to go to every other night are a waste of my fucking time, and you don't pay me what I'm worth. And he just fucking went on this, fucking 3-minute rant into his phone, and then it rewrote this professional resignation letter. My experience with the company, while positive, has been, challenging, and It was pretty good. So yeah, you can make it go the other direction. All right, I have 15 more minutes, and then I gotta leave. It looks like we got some new folks here. So my name is Kyle Shannon. I normally have a dual camera thing going, but that went away. Whatever. TikTok's special. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the CEO of a company called Storyvine. This is the AI Learning Lab. All these URLs behind my head, why they're here, let me get out of the way. If you haven't played with ChatGPT, I'm obviously a little passionate about it, enough so that I spend like 2 or 3 hours a night talking about this shit. That's the official ChatGPT website. So go there right now. Start playing with it if you haven't. Bing.com is also ChatGPT, but that's Microsoft's search engine. And if you click on the chat button, it's GPT-4, and it's connected to the internet, and you can make free images there. So these are the guys that invented it. These are the guys that gave them $10 billion and are completely incorporating it in everything they're doing, right? They're going to roll it into Office 365. It's in GitHub. It's going to be in Windows. It's in all the Azure cloud services. It's going to be everywhere. So that's that. And then Poe.com is Quora. If you know this, the question and answer site Quora, that's their search engine, or that's their chatbot. But there's 2 interesting things here. One is you can play with 6 different large language models, so you can kind of compare them. One of them has 100,000 token context window, so you can put a lot of words in it. And then they also have a bot maker, and so there's a lot of bots here you can play with, which are just, think of them as like specialized ChatGPTs. That one will rewrite your Midjourney prompt for you. One will help you write emails. There's like thousands of them now, and you can make your own bot, so you can practice your prompt writing by making a bot. And then prompts.chat will teach you how to prompt these things, how to talk to these things, and how to make them act in ways that are valuable to you. And then the final thing, Futurepedia, is a directory of like 3,700 AI tools. So can you move the blue window? It's covering your face. That was because I think I moved it on my face. Audio's fine. Milk bones. There's already a restaurant with a robot wait staff. Yep. And I think Wendy's is testing a synthesized voice that talks to you when you pull up to the drive-thru. It's not a real person. I think Wendy's is testing that right now. Kurzweil predicted AGI and aging are going to be overcome by the 2030s. Yeah. His recent interview with Kurzweil said 2029 that was the year he predicted, and he said he's sticking by it. He feels like that's on track. Open the pod bay doors, Hal. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. George Hotz, the spelling, that's correct. Hotz. Wild, intelligent, crazy as fuck dude, but brilliant. Like whenever I want to be humbled, there's two guys right now that are in that space for me. One is George Hotz. Although I haven't watched him in a while, he's sort of resurfacing because he's doing some of this AI stuff. And the other one is this guy named David Shapiro, who's neurospicy, as he describes it, on the spectrum, and he's just brilliant. And he's written David Shapiro's written 5 books on artificial intelligence, and he's got a number of open source projects to create AGI. He wants to create an open source artificial general intelligence. So he wants to do it in parallel with what OpenAI is doing, but do it with open source, large language models and with tools he's writing, and he's building a whole community around it. But he's fucking wicked smart, and he does like these long like PowerPoint presentations on theories of like economics and universal basic income and like what are the implications like if these things are smarter than us, and the alignment issue of like we want to make sure that these robots are aligned with our values so they don't deprioritize us. Really, really smart guy. I appreciate your willingness to share and respond to questions. Will you remind me of the AI Salon URL? Yes, I will. That's it. The Salon.ai. And then this thing down here is a newsletter that I do with a guy named Greg Mushin. So that's the Twitter handle, Everyday AI News. But yeah, that's the Salon. So if you want to join the Salon, we've got a Discord, we have meetups, we've got a LinkedIn group, and it's like a group that are just kind of on this adventure together, trying to figure it out. And there's everyone from like, people have been working in machine learning for 20 years, baller kind of engineers, to like people that are like, I heard this AI thing is something I should pay attention to. I'm scared. Is it going to kill us? It's like everyone in between those two ranges. It's a cool group. Do you think in the future AI can create new jobs? I think AI is going to create lots and lots of new jobs, like jobs we can't even imagine right now. I think it's going to create a lot of them. I think it's going to be a net dramatic positive, assuming we can get the alignment thing right. And but short term, it's going to fuck up a lot. It's going to disrupt a lot of jobs. It's going to change a lot of jobs. Any job that's kind of a tactical execution, anything where you're some form of a cog in the wheel of this big complicated machine, where you're doing repetitive, like soul crushing, the same kind of work over and over and over again, whether it's cold calling as a salesperson or doing data entry or cranking out, resizing images for social media in a social media department, or cranking out, copy for 57 variations for A/B testing. Anything where you're a cog in a wheel, or you're a cog in the machine of your company or society, those jobs are going to be automated out. Now, are those people going to be automated out? Not necessarily, because, someone's got to operate the machine that the cogs are in. So if the cogs get automated and you can make more things faster and more efficiently, well, what does that mean? It potentially means you don't need as many people, but it also potentially means you could use the same amount of people to generate, more output, right? So you could give lower prices to your customers, or you could give higher quality, or you could turn things around faster with the same amount of work. Some companies are just going to jettison employees. Others are going to find ways to keep employees and basically upskill them to improve the company. But it's going to be pretty ugly for, my guess is 2 to 3 years. And it's already starting. Like, we're already starting to see, I just saw one today that was 4,500 jobs were being eliminated from a big company, direct result of generative AI. Which AI platform generate graphics for free? So Bing.com. So let me pull up that graphic again. Bing.com is, if you're you go to Bing.com and then you click on the chat button. In the chat window, just say, make me an image of, and describe whatever you want. And then if you want, go to Poe.com and there's a bot for DALL-E, DALLE, and you can type in a little prompt for an image, and it will rewrite it to give you a better image. So you can go here, find a DALL-E bot, and then go to Bing.com and paste the prompt in to Bing.com, and it'll make you one. So that's free. If you have Adobe Creative license, Creative Cloud, it's called, you can get access to Adobe Firefly, which is generative AI. So it's not free, but if you've already got a Photoshop license, you can do generative fill within that. Sign up for there's a site out there called Leonardo.ai, like Leonardo da Vinci, Leonardo.ai. And that requires you to sign up for a wait list, but it's very worth it because they give you like 150 credits a day, which is, I think creating an image there is like 8 credits. So you can do a fair amount a day. And then I don't think it's super expensive to do like their lowest tier. So that's that one. Stable Diffusion, there are all sorts of free options, but you got to be geeky. You got to like set up a virtual machine, or you got to have some decent iron, or there's just a fair amount you got to do to get it running. But Stable Diffusion is open source, and there's an incredible developer community. Like if you want flexibility and power, Stable Diffusion's the way to go. If you want quality, Midjourney's the way to go. And that you have to pay, like I pay $10 a month for Midjourney, and that gives me enough. I haven't really hit my boundaries on that. I don't make a ton, but it gives me enough. But it's, from a quality standpoint, there's nothing like Midjourney right now. If you're in a business and you want it to be commercially safe and viable, Adobe Firefly and Generative Fill, because it's trained on non-copywritten images. The crappiest one is DALL-E, the thing that sits underneath Bing, but that'll get better at some point. But it's free. And then there's another one called Blue Willow that's kind of like Midjourney. You log into a Discord server for Blue Willow, and then you type commands to make your images. I think it's built on top of Stable Diffusion, but that's free, and I have no idea how they're doing that for free. I don't understand who the fuck is paying for that. But maybe it's one of those models where they raised enough money where they're like, let's go get customers first, and then we'll figure out how to monetize it. Cha-ching! That's too stressful for me. I couldn't start that business. I started a service business, and then my current business, Storyvine, we sold it first. Like, we basically didn't build Storyvine until we had someone to pay for it. The Salon.ai, you're helping each other. That's awesome. Not that trippy. Oh, it just jumped me to the bottom again. I lost my place in the questions, people. I have 7 minutes left until I turn into a pumpkin, and then I must leave. I must go to the ball, Papa. I must. Oh, Papa, why do you treat me so? Do you need to be great at math to learn AI? No. Well, depends on which side of the inflection point you are. So here's the deal with this. Pre-November 30th, 2022, the answer was essentially yes. Like, you don't need to be good at math, but you need to be pretty geeky. You need to be an engineer. You need to understand programming. You need to understand Python. You need to understand, yeah. So the answer is yes. November 30th, 2022, that site launches. So that, the application that you play with there, ChatGPT, the original version of it that they launched was written in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. How did they do it that quickly? Because the documentation for ChatGPT was actually, the instructions for how to build ChatGPT were in the documentation of GPT-3, and nobody built it. And so Sam Altman, Microsoft's getting ready to make this $1 billion investment announcement, and he's like, we got to have something to show, because we can't just show them the dev tools. So go build ChatGPT. So they built it in 2 weeks, and they launched it on November 30th, 2022. What that tool does, or what that tool did, was it basically turned the English language, or your native language, but let's just say for the purposes of the words I'm saying here, It turned the English language into a programming language. So you just go there and you just tell it words and it does shit for you. You can say, make me an application that calculates the average speed between this object and that object, and it will go write that application. And it will probably work. And if it doesn't work, it will help you debug it. You can also just ask it to help you write a paper or a proposal or a marketing plan or copy or whatever, or create a table. So, no, you don't. The other amazing thing about that date is from the day this launched until they got to 100 million users was 6 weeks. It was the fastest adoption of consumer technology in history. The World Wide Web, when the World Wide Web launched, it took 6 years to get to 100 million users. This took 6 weeks. So you've got, at this point, probably 200 or 300 million people that are using this thing where the English language now can deliver like magical results, right? You've got all of the knowledge of the public internet at your fingertips. And knowledge, not just information, not like I've got to go read an article about Python programming. No, it will write the Python code for you. So knowing math probably doesn't hurt, but I have a degree in acting. Like, I get, like, I will occasionally stumble upon a thing. I'm like, oh, I could use algebra to solve this. And I'm like, wait, a squared plus b, oh, fuck. Like, I got to go back to like 8th grade, like all the time. So like, no, you don't need to be good at math at all. But you got to be on the other side of that inflection point. If you want to play on the machine learning and build models and do things like LangChain and do your own embeddings and all that sort of shit, yeah, you should be good at math. You want to just use these tools? Nope. What you do need to be good at is critical thinking. That's the new thing. Like, if you're just sort of a cog in the wheel, I just show up at work, I do my thing, that shit's going to get automated out. The new skill is being able to understand what you want to accomplish and how to figure out which of these tools can accomplish that. And then when it starts generating stuff, go, ooh, that's good, that's bad, that's good. Okay, if I took that and put that here, that critical thinking shit, the value of that goes up dramatically. All right. It learned to autocomplete programming languages by modeling predictive text on flawed code. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Big Game Mike. Love the name. That's awesome. The input has lots of flaws, so the generated output will also end up with similar flaws. Yeah, exactly. The hallucination thing, they'll get that worked out. It's not magic. No. I didn't say it. Well, it is perceived as magic, right? Any significantly advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. That's what I was saying. When that thing fucking writes you something that you know would have taken you 2 hours and it does it better than you in 30 seconds, that's fucking magic. How it does it is not magic. How it does it is, it's a fucking calculator. But it's a sophisticated enough calculator that it's like, that's fucking magic. When you watch it write code and then the code fucking runs. I did this with a 10-year-old. He had a clone of Flappy Birds and it had a bug in it and he couldn't figure it out. And we copied and pasted it into ChatGPT. It found the bug, of course, like that. It fixed it. He copied it back into Unity and hit play, and it ran. And he did this. He was like, and he looked at me and he goes, "This changes everything." That's fucking magic. I'm sorry. It's magic. I mean, magic's not magic, right? Magic tricks aren't magic. It's sleight of hand, and it's like 30 years of practice. But if you don't know how to do that, it's magic, right? Same thing with these tools. It's 30 years of neural networks and mathematics and technology and fuck-ups and, Geoffrey Hinton's original, neural network and large language model was whatever it was, like 18 words that, the original prediction was this incredibly small thing. So all of that's in this, right? All of that history, all that legacy's there. The 30 years of a magician practicing sleight of hand so it shows up as magic. So ChatGPT shows up on November 30th. It's fucking magic. Because the 100 million people that signed up for that weren't building neural networks, weren't engineering this shit. They were just like, could it write a blog post? Oh shit. But it can't write a tweet good, right? Oh. But it doesn't do hashtags, right? Oh my. Is my job in trouble? Corner of the internet, their little corner of knowledge work or of creative work, they're realizing isn't quite so special after all. And so what do you do with that? That's existential, right? This is a lot of people's identity is in the work they do. And along comes a tool that can do it like that. It's intense. It's just a load of matrix manipulations or multiplications. It is. And it's magic. I'm a prompt employee. See, now that's solid, Thelonious. That's good. That's a solid. See, that's somewhere between a troll and a compliment. This is the kind of trolling we like at the AI Learning Lab. Smart trolling. Love it. And that's not even trolling. That's just like a good joke. I'm a prompt employee. You get it? Great session. Lot learned. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Love this. Thank you. What's the Salon URL? It's thesalon.ai. Can you give some examples of where you expect big opportunities will be with autonomous agents? Thank you for the rose. And I gotta go. Yeah, I think autonomous agents are ultimately where this goes. So right now we kind of have to go to the AI, right? We have to go to ChatGPT, right? We have to go to Bing. When these guys add code interpreter, you're going to have to go there and upload your spreadsheet and right? The autonomous agents are going to be like, so imagine that we were all like a big cigar smoking CEO in the corner office. And, we got the like the 50s secretary, Marge, get your ass in here, go get me lunch. So imagine if everyone had an agent that you could ask it to do anything and it'll just go do it. That's where it heads, right? So I think initially it's going to start out with relatively mundane stuff like I want to plan I want to plan a nice vacation for the family, right? So right now, how would you do that? Well, you'd go talk to the family and you'd say, who wants to go where, and maybe we'll go Google and look at destinations, or I've always wanted to go here, right? And you get in the fight about where we're going, and then everyone's in a bad mood, and then you go to work the next day, and then you go Google, your least favorite place because it's the one that people won't kill each other at, right? So you go there, and then you start Googling, right? And what does Google do? It presents you with like 8,000 fucking options, and 60% of them are paid SEO injected bullshit sites just trying to sell you some ripoff thing, right? So most of the time trying to like plan your vacation is sifting through horrific SEO just fucking shit, right? Like the usefulness of Google has just plummeted, right? As their monopoly increased and everyone started following their rules for SEO. And as SEO agencies got better and better in what they did and writing all this fake content to generate the views to get the people to click, right? It became useless. So with an autonomous agent, I might just give it a goal. My wife wants this kind of vacation. I want this kind of vacation. My kids want this kind of vacation. Can you suggest 5 places that will make us each the least pissed off? Sure. Here's 5. Oh, I forgot about whatever, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. That's where Dollywood is. Okay, that could work. Never would have thought of that. Good. Can you go now book me? We want to go in September, and we don't want to spend more than this much on travel and accommodations. Sure, boom. The agent will just go off. It will automatically find the best deals, book all the shit because you'll have given it permissions for whatever accounts. It will go book all that stuff. And then while it's doing that, and it'll probably do that in 10 minutes, maybe 5, like depending on how quick those APIs are, it'll just go do that shit and it'll come back and it'll provide you with a list. Here's some options. Do these work for you? Oh no, I forgot. We hate flying in the morning. We want to fly in the afternoon. So we just get to the hotel and go to sleep. Okay, great. It'll just go rebook everything, right? And then while it's off doing that, you say, well, what are we going to do during the day? Because one day we'll be Dollywood, but we're gonna be there for 5 days. So we want one day where we do some shopping stuff that the wife likes, and one day we want to do outdoorsy stuff that I like, and one day we want to do something that the kids like, right? So you give those instructions to your agent. You just say, here's my goal. I want to make these people happy. We have 4 days to do it. We don't want to spend more than $500 a day on activities and food. Go book us daily itineraries. It'll do it. So right now, you can do that. You can go to ChatGPT, and with plugins, you can use some of the plugins and things like that. So, all right. I gotta go. Let's see. So anyway, so that's where they start, I think, is with little personal projects, shopping, travel, probably a lot of work stuff, project management. Autonomous agents would be great at project management. Why? Because all the documents, you've already got all of the project management tools are out there. We also know how complete all the documents are. Like we know that document wasn't finished, and we know that Sally was working on that document. So the agent can just go, hey, Sally, how's that thing coming along? Would you like me to help you finish that document? Sure, that would be great. Here's the rest of your... Can you just give that the thumbs up, Sally, and then we'll move that on to the next step and stay on track with this? So you'll see it in work. And then I think they start to get more sophisticated. And where they ultimately go is, Elon Musk starts to turn his robots into a purchase that you would consider buying just like you buy a car, right? So you're going to have a personal robot for the family. Just like you have the family car, you'll have the family robot. And then you can just say, you're out back working on the porch. The board popped up on the porch and you realize you got the wrong kind of nails. And you're just like, oh, shit, Jimmy, you named your robot Jimmy, because why wouldn't you? You're like, Jimmy? And Jimmy comes over, you're like, could you run to the Home Depot and take these nails back and get me the right nails? Sure. And it'll go off and it'll hop in your car, it'll drive to Home Depot, it'll walk in, it'll freak the fuck out of the people at Home Depot for the first year. And it'll get your nails and it'll come back, right? So it ultimately plays out there. Like all this shit plays out to the Jetsons. it really does. It plays out like we're living in Jetsons. And by the way, 3 days ago, the FAA approved the first flying car design. 3 days ago, the FAA said, yes, this is... We will consider this, we're going to allow you to put this design into testing. And if they approve it, then we're going to have an FAA approved flying car. So we're going to literally have the Jetsons. It's coming. Like, we're not that far away. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. All right, everybody. Listen, I know I didn't get to all the questions. We'll do one more. What AI company should you invest in from a risk-reward perspective? You're asking an actor what company to invest in. I don't know. I like what Microsoft is doing. I think Google's in trouble, but they're Google, and they got a bunch of smart fucking people there, and they invented this shit. So I would probably be equally surprised if Google didn't come out with something remarkable. As if they came out with something that like they're probably going to come out with something quite remarkable. Nvidia, like AMD is trying to get into the Nvidia game, but Nvidia's got it kind of locked up right now. But they have $1 trillion market cap, so do they go to 2 trillion? I don't know, but right now they're kind of the only game in town for this GPU shit for AI. I think Anthropic's really interesting, but I don't think they're public yet. Um, I think Apple's gonna fucking kill it. I think Apple with the autonomous agents, back to the autonomous agent thing, what Apple's got that no one else has is they haven't caved on privacy. Like they will not give the government backdoors to their technology for privacy. So they've got some real credibility with privacy, and that's going to get increasingly important. And the other thing that Apple's doing is they're building their own silicon, and they're able to do a lot of machine learning processing locally. So instead of having to send shit out to big Microsoft servers, like when you do an OpenAI call, that's going to Microsoft servers. So you're sending your data to the machine, to the cloud. Apple's going to be able to do all that processing locally. So I think Apple, their combination of user interface, like kick-ass technology, and the privacy thing, they're going to be able to do autonomous agents really well. So I think they're going to be amazing. And if you want to bet on the Vision Pro goggles, Apple's always interesting. I don't know. Those are the ones I'm paying attention to right now. It's a fairly small list. For me, the one that is, I guess the two that are most interesting to me right now are Anthropic and OpenAI. Although, what's the one? There's a guy that founded DeepMind, Inflection. He just got funded for $1.3 billion for their Series B. $1.3 billion for a Series B. So that's probably an interesting company to look at. But anyway, all right, everybody. I gotta run. I do appreciate you hanging out with me. It's always humbling to know this many people kind of hang out, and I hope this helps. I know it was kind of all over the place tonight, but that's what you get. You get ADD. Sometimes it's focused, sometimes it's not. Peace, everybody. Have a good night.